Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Being Too Aware of What's Going On in Your Body. You have a little itch, you have too much saliva in your mouth, and now you need to blink. So let's get right into it. Watching football, firing up the grill, having a scotch and smoking a cigar while watching The Little Mermaid. These are all things that you, as a man, are doing right now. Can I just one moment? Can we please stop pretending that the backlash is about the character of The Little Mermaid? Isn't this discourse tired already? Aren't you tired of this conversation going on? Aren't you tired of videos exactly like this one and tweets and memes? I wish I were joking about this all so bad. I wish none of this were serious at all and we could just move on, but no, because you cast a black person in a role ever and it's to intentionally stir up racial tensions. It's going woke and off the rails. Matt Walsh is a name that you've probably heard a million times anytime far-right man-babies want to cry real loud. You can find him narrating and starring in a movie where he seeks to question the logic behind sex and gender, featuring such wise minds as Jordan Peterson, in which Matt Walsh ends the movie with a joke about how women can't open jars. You can also find him sending hordes of transphobic minions to attack medical clinics who offer transgender care. But today we are going to talk about this whole nonsense behind Halle Bailey and what he refers to as blackwashing. Oof. Let's dive in.
The Little Mermaid herself, a pale redhead in the cartoon version, has been recast as a black woman, though still with red hair somehow. This is part of a growing trend. As the anger about whitewashing increases, so in equal proportion does the demand for what we must in the reverse call blackwashing.
These people think that they're smart. They really do. But more so, the worst part of commentators like Matt Walsh is that he thinks that everybody else thinks the same way he does. He doesn't understand that he too is actually a victim of all of us being stuck in our little bubbles, and assumes that the average normal person, which to him obviously means cis straight white men, thinks the same things that he does about all of these things. It is painful, but I am getting ahead of myself.
A viral post on Twitter declares rapturously, "A black Cinderella, a black Belle on Broadway, a black Cinderella on Broadway, and now a black Ariel. The black girls are truly winning."
We can't have that, now can we, Matt? He goes on to talk about how a lot of black people have been a part of historical retellings like Anne Boleyn, Vikings, other examples that he says come to mind, but doesn't say what they are, and instead defaults to the new Jake from State Farm?
Now, in all of these cases, two things are guaranteed. Or actually more than two, a few things. When a black actor plays a traditionally white role, portraying either a fictional character or a historical figure, the media, the left, and Hollywood itself will celebrate the move as pioneering and courageous and important, along with all the other requisite superlatives. The other guarantee is that any criticism of the casting decision, even and especially criticism that simply adopts the same logic as the left applies to so-called whitewashing, will be slammed as racist.
So here's the crux, and So here's the crux of his argument, and a lot of arguments that come from a commonplace conservative misconception. His argument is that he and any other angry white men should be able to complain about black people being cast in historically white roles, because when white people are cast in historically black roles, people on the other side get angry. This is a very popular and common conservative misconception that everybody, especially in the United States, is born on an equal playing field in society. It's the root of arguments such as, "I hate everyone equally," and "when I was a kid, we used to make fun of everyone equally," and "why are things like affirmative action necessary? We all start from the same place, right?" And the answer is no, we don't, man. And we haven't, ever. This country did a little bad a long time ago. You might have heard of it. And yes, there have been good things such as reparations, the civil rights movement, and more people of color being put in positions of power. But conservatives fought these progressive movements every single step of the way to preserve some ignorant, negligent notion that we were already created equal, so why do we have to change anything? But to think these things is to buy into this idea of American exceptionalism, which is rooted in systemic racism that has existed for generations upon generations upon generations. And it not only makes you part of the problem, but it makes you somebody who's ignoring this existing problem, which in turn then makes the problem worse. What Matt Walsh wants is the freedom to criticize. which he already has. You know, congratulations, you have every right to every shitty opinion you've ever had. You know, sit in your recliner, crack open a beer, put in your favorite VHS copy of The Little Mermaid 2: Return to the Sea, and God bless America. But I also have a right to my opinions, and I have the right to call out idiots like Matt Walsh, who is sitting here being blatantly racist. He calls the casting in the new Disney movie blatantly racist, but ignores the irony that all he's saying here is that he should have the right to his racism, and to just ignore the more than a century of societal cinematic history that came before. I've talked about this before in another video I made about if wokeness killed comedy. You can check that out here. The answer was no, but I'll say it again here. Movies, TV, media in general, for forever in America, was made for cisgendered, straight white men and by cisgendered, straight white men. That's not to say everyone was just cool with that and went along with it because it made the most sense to have those people in charge and agreed that those were the people most responsible to be put in these roles of creating and retelling these stories. It was because other people were not given the same opportunities. Conservatives will often say things like the 80s and 90s were a great time for diversity. It wasn't forced, it wasn't political, but will fail to acknowledge that even the edgiest comedians of color at the time, like Richard Pryor, or the most recognizable actors of the time, like Morgan Freeman, were also cherry-picked and hand-selected as acceptable for white audiences by the producers and the managers and agents and executives who have been catering to those white audiences for forever. And now, there are different people in charge. There are people in the Black community, there are people in the Hispanic and Latino communities, there are people in Asian communities, etc., who are all now in these positions as well, with the opportunity to tell their stories the way they want to. And other stories, whatever, because they couldn't before. And now, not all media is being catered to you. And that's okay.
That's the third guarantee, that when a film casts a black actor in a white role, any criticism of the film, any criticism, even criticism that makes no mention of race, is racist.
Nah, just the race ones, really.
Which is why you can't criticize the new Lord of the Rings series or the Game of Thrones prequel without revealing yourself to be a member of the KKK.
It's fantasy, homie. You know, if you can buy into elves and dragons existing in your fantasy worlds, but not black people, there's a word for that, my guy, and it's not such a good one.
When Media Matters clips it and posts it to Twitter with a caption like, Daily Wire host launches into racist tirade about Black Little Mermaid. Guaranteed they're going to do that. And when they do, the left is going to respond to it by scoffing and saying, well, why do you care so much? It's just a movie about a mermaid.
Why do you care so much? It is just a movie about a mermaid. He then goes on to say that the left would freak out if the reverse happened. You know, whitewashing. And he said that people would literally riot and start killing people if white people rebooted Medea with Bob Odenkirk. Which, no, that would be hilarious. And then says the same would happen if The Princess and the Frog starred Kristen Stewart as Tatiana, which is not the name of the princess in this movie. So, you know, doesn't really inspire much confidence that he actually cares about the content. And then says this, which is especially fucking weird.
And of course, a biopic about, say, Frederick Douglass with Tom Hanks as the lead would result in entire cities burning down in flames.
Which obviously, LOL, but hold on.
All of these things would be called, as less egregious examples have been called, black erasure. So does that not mean,
oh, no,
by their own categorization,
oh, you're not going to want to say it,
that the reverse is white erasure?
I don't need to say why that's stupid, right? You get the, okay, I was just checking, right? I don't need to, okay. I'm done talking about Matt Walsh now. He has a way of speaking that with just the sound of his voice transmits heat waves through my screen and directly into my bloodstream and makes it boil. So instead, let's move on to something a little sillier and a little stupider. Yes, somehow it's stupider. The Quartering! Yay! Fuck this guy. Banned from conventions for harassing cosplayers, sending waves of assholes to target women, accused of doxing people, and known white nationalist. That about sums him up. The Quartering YouTube channel posted a video on September 13th, 2022, showcasing an AI-generated deepfake of the teaser for The Little Mermaid, where they made her Wanna guess? Did the white people mad about Halle Bailey's casting make her A, on the land instead of under the sea? Did they make her B, a caricature of Michael Caine from the movie Alfie? Or did they C, make her white? Obviously, yeah, they made her white. They made her white. Why?
And within hours, both accounts were suspended off Twitter. Why? I don't know. I've been told by all the leftists out there that mermaids don't exist. And so the race of said mermaids is not relevant.
Uh-huh.
So when you turn Ariel black, that's stunning and progressive. When you turn Ariel white, you're suspended.
I was only going to do this bit 3 times this video, you know, comedy, rule of 3s. But if you could please just excuse me for one last... You're not making the character white. It is not racist to have white characters in a movie. Obviously. The reason the accounts got suspended is because they made Halle Bailey, a real actual fucking person, white. And then they called it fixing her. This is a fucking hate crime, you moron.
He fixed Little Mermaid.
Shut up.
Quite frankly, I've been screamed at by leftists all, for the last week, telling me that, what do you mean? It's a fish person. It's not real. What does the race matter? Oh, now it matters. Oh, well, if it isn't your own hypocrisy.
Well, if it isn't your own hypocrisy, checkmate, liberals. I'm gonna go harass another woman. In conclusion, shut the fuck up. No, race doesn't matter when casting roles like The Little Mermaid. Yes, whitewashing is bad. No, blackwashing does not exist. And no, somebody getting upset with deep-faked hate crimes does not make them a hypocrite. At the end of the day, like I said, these guys have the right to every single one of their shitty opinions. The movie's gonna come out, they're gonna freak out for a week, and then they're gonna hear about the next black actor or musician to get an equal opportunity to a white person and shit themselves and shift their anger to that. Rinse and repeat ad nauseum. Of course it sucks. You know, of course I fucking hate that people like Matt Walsh and TheQuartering have millions of subscribers, but they're good at talking, and they're good at being loud. You just gotta hope that in the end, them continuing to say the quiet part out loud will continue to get them in trouble. But alright, my fellow woke cells, like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you have not done so already, hit the bell so you're notified every single time I upload a new video, and keep the discussion going. You know, what's your take on the whole situation? Let me know, or don't, in the comment section down below. Goodbye.